Good morning, everybody. I finally got the YouTube Live to let me select my microphone. Well, it only took them how long to fix that? Oh, good morning, everyone. Of course, as you realize, I am not in the parking lot this morning. I'm just not. I didn't feel it. The wall between the hand and the job. I just couldn't think of a title, so I typed that in. So how's everybody doing? It is Tuesday. I was halfway tempted not to go in yesterday, and I was stupid and I did. And then this morning I got up, and every now and then I get this feeling in my belly saying, "Look, don't go in today." And sure enough, every single time I have denied that instinct, I regret going into work that day. So I had an FMLA day left for the month. My anxiety is going to kick like mad for the next few weeks because, of course, winter is here. Well, and it was nice because this year we actually had a fall. It was, usually in Ohio, most of the time, my life, you go straight from summer into winter. I'm not kidding. Literally, one day it is like I almost said signing. One day it's sunny, the sun's out shining, it's like 70 degrees, and then boom, the next day you're like 30 degrees and lower. And that's Fahrenheit, by the way, for all you folks from across the pond who are using that Celsius garbage. Someone goes, "Why don't you do the conversion thing?" I said, "I don't do math anymore. I just go to work, do my job, come home, play my video game, and just kind of contemplate existence every now and then, just deep meanings of the universe." But yeah, here I am. I was like, I just didn't feel like going in today. I really didn't. It's just something was knobbling at the back of my brain saying, "Do not go to work today." Okay, some interesting stuff coming up. I was just thinking, war between the land and the sea. As you know, I find it interesting they're doing this story because if you go into my audiobook collection, that's right, I'm an author. No, I've never declared myself an author because I self-publish something, or I'm a director and creator. So I can't stand when people call YouTube people content creators because it's like they make it sound like they've had 4 or 5 Oscars or some shit. It's like you do YouTube videos, big deal. But I did one a while back called "For Those in Peril from the Sea," and it's kind of interesting. And it was about a planet that I made up, of course, called Hatoa, where the people had just lived happily away, and they were dumping massive amounts of trash and all that out in the ocean. And then finally one day they found out the hard way that there was another race on their planet that had been living underwater, and they got tired of toxic waste and syringes, needles, and other nasty things dropping in on their home. So they built a massive army. A lot of the, what you call it, fish creatures were put into these power armors with basically an aquarium in this armored aquarium in the center, and they marched up onto the land and took over because they outnumbered the people on the land quite a bit. They just showed up and tore everything apart. And it's funny now we're doing war between the land and the sea. It makes me wonder, is RTD watching? I don't know. I doubt it. I'm just screwing around. I don't know. I'm starting to feel more and more iffy about war between the land and the sea the more I look at it. But like I said, I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to, try to enjoy it. I'm not going to, but the problem is after what they did to Unit these last 2 years, last few years, I don't know. because they've turned UNIT into an even bigger joke than, Keir Starmer. See, I made a political reference. All right.
See, you're off today. Now you got no excuse not to get the 3 cases of water out of the back of the car you were supposed to get out yesterday. Kiss my ass, bitch. I know what you're going to say.
This is not the Lady G show. This is the Dr. Freedom show. Go back to the kitchen. Now, make me a sandwich. All right. I do too. There's just something about everything I've seen about this so far. The fact that once again they've taken a classic character and completely redesigned it, because they gotta, you see, the thing is this: I don't want to besmirch the Silurian thing too bad, because it did give us Madame Vastra and a lot of other very interesting characters, but still, that's not the Silurians we grew up with. They're not meant to look like frickin' human beings. They did not evolve from simians like us. So why would they have our faces? Why would an aquatic creature have a mammalian face? Unless it's a whale. And even they don't look like us. Well, depending on who you talk about. Well, but okay. But again, there are some... It's like, what's going to be next after this? It turns out we had a colony of mackerel living out in the ocean, and they're going to show up demanding reparations from the crews from the Deadliest Catch for the capture, imprisonment, of eating of their cousins. Oh, well. I try to keep positive these days, but it's getting more and more difficult. Especially with the fact that, hang on a minute. Coffee always makes things feel better. All right. It's like the saying that Rutger Hauer had. If you've never seen the movie Blind Fury, I highly suggest it. Especially since pretty soon they'll probably be saying you got to be blind to play blind people. That'll be the next thing going through Hollywood. But oh, I know. Like I said, I didn't mind the Sutek CGI thing, but it's just the fact that, oh, look, we're just going to hook him up. Little blonde girl here is going to blonde hair, blue eyed, Susan or whatever here. Oh God, did I use Susan? No, I mean, little Ruby here is just going to go walk right up to the God of Death and hook him up to a thing because, the God of Death doesn't want to kill Ruby for some dumbass reason. And he's going to let the Doctor take him on a walkie through the cosmos, even though he's been hanging onto the back of the TARDIS in the time vortex for how long? But a run through the time vortex is going to kill him. You see what I mean? It's just so badly thought out. And that's what I hate. I hate to agree with you, Black Phoenix, but I do. It's looking like an underwater Romeo and Juliet story. And I keep hearing that one song from Paradise PD play it. Now you gotta F the fish. Oh. For you folks who watch Paradise PD, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. The flipper people. All right. Well, remember, Sutek was back there for like centuries, millennia. And to me, I'm like, there were far, 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 far better ways they could have brought Sutek back than that dumbass explanation. Because that would mean, literally, ladies and gentlemen, that when Jodie and Mandip, the 13th Doctor and Yaz, were doing her little farewell thing and they were sitting out on top of the TARDIS, they were sitting on Sutek's face. Ugh. That's kind of dirty. That sounded dirty. Okay, that would mean Capaldi was sitting on Sutek. Remember the opening for Listen? That would mean maybe Sutek had his head up Capaldi's ass. Ugh. Imagine, you've seen what, Capaldi can do when he goes Malcolm Tucker out his mouth. Just imagine what goes on when it happens out the backside. Oh. Oy vey. But yeah, it just amazes me that everybody was harping on Chibnall, but at least when Chibnall did classic characters, he did them right. Oh, Sea Devils looked like Sea Devils. Oh my God, I didn't even think about Roar. Yeah, but please, expect some full-on adult humor if you watch Brickleberry or Paradise PD. It is incredibly adult shit. Okay, it's just oh. If you just want to laugh and you don't give a damn why, okay, those are your shows. I know, that's what I mean. Chibnall, the classic guy, the guy everybody harped on, the guy everybody attacked. At least his Sea Devils look like frickin' Sea Devils. The Sontarans looked like Sontarans again. They look like warriors. The Cybermen were just downright medieval. Medieval evil. With new armor that had like spikes and shit on it. But no, we're going to get fish people with human faces so they can make out with Russell Tovey. Then again, I know a lot of people who wouldn't mind making out with Russell Tovey. Hell, he even gives me a little itch and I'm straight. Okay. That's a good question. Yeah, how would Amy have known about Sutek? That's what I mean. Well, I didn't mind the Ice Warriors episode that they had. That was Cold War. I thought that was a very interesting innovation that we had never seen an Ice Warrior outside of their armor. And everybody assumes they're just, it turns out, no, that was just an exosuit. So I did like that take. I got to give them that. So I got to give Moffat that on the Ice Warriors. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing his revamped version of the Ice Warriors, though, Chibnall, if he had done it. But the problem is there's so many races out there in Doctor Who, like the Rutans. Why didn't they use the Rutans for the Zygon thing? Because that would have made more sense. Because Rutans didn't need a body print machine to copy people. Rutans were at war with the Sontarans for how many years, which means if the battle, if the war had finally turned ugly, then you would need somewhere for the Rutan refugees to go to hide from the Sontarans. Why didn't they go that route rather than turning the Zygons into utter freaking imbeciles is beyond me. I did like Empress of Mars. Yeah, I liked Cold War as well, but also because David Warner was in it, and David Warner is, probably was one of the most awesome actors in on the planet. I'm not kidding. I would watch anything that had David Warner in it. It was like the shittiest movie on planet Earth, and David Warner. I remember seeing a movie a long time ago. It's called Nightwing, and David Warner had a part in it. He wasn't the major character, but he was one of the leading characters. And I watched that whole movie. Pretty much also it was a good story. But David Warner was in it. I think the first movie I saw David Warner in was Time After Time with Malcolm McDowell. Oh. I know. I always try to screw my McDowells up because I just saw a thing this morning with Roddy McDowell, and I almost said Roddy. Okay, I know it's not Roddy. It's Malcolm McDowell. I know. David Warner was just amazing in everything he did. But like I said, it's just worrying me, this whole war between the land and the sea thing. And of course, everything's still up there. From what I'm hearing, Bad Wolf is not going to be doing Doctor Who after next year. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see what's going on. I want to see some facts on the table before I start believing a bunch of shit from the internet. So I guess Radio Free Scaro's gotten some interesting things that have come to pass. So keep an eye on them. Not Outhouse Cairo. That's a whole nother thing. Radio Free Scar is what I'm talking about. Oh, I loved him as the Unbound Doctor as well. Yeah. Yeah, the Unbound series I thought was amazing. For the most part, it was. Plus, he got to play that Doctor again for a while in Big Finish. As far as they're concerned, I think the multiverse Doctors are canon. So just think in your own head. I think they did that because there's everybody who has that wish list of who they'd like to see the Doctor. And just think, in another universe, that person may have been the Doctor. Like my favorite one in the world, off the top of my head would be Hugh Laurie. Because I'd put Hugh Laurie Doctor up against, Peter Capaldi's Doctor any day of the week. Doing, the menacing, that type of Doctor. So thank you for reminding me whose books. Because one of the Doctors that appears when they show the Doctors' faces was, please remind me, it's on the tip of my mind, and my brain just blanked. But he did, in a way, make the multiverse Doctors canon because one of the multiverse Doctors was up there. Yeah, Scream of the Shalka. That was, it's on the pick back a moment. Richard E. Grant. If I got it right. Okay, yeah, I knew it would come to me. It just takes a while for the hard drive to, spool up. Yeah, Richard E. Grant was among the Doctor's faces. That's why Die laughing that there shall not be no doctors before Hartnell. You better go back and tell Philip Hinchcliffe that because he did that back in 76. Where he had doctors before Hartnell. Oh, well. But all I can say is this. We're going to give it a watch. We're going to give it a shot. And we'll see. Also, Fallout, the new series, second season is coming in December 17th. And I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. With plus, reminder for those that heard, they're going to be showing War Between the Land and the Sea on December 7th, which for us is Pearl Harbor Day. And like I said, more to this universe, it's the 10th anniversary of Lady G's heart surgery that day. So a lot of stuff coming up. Well, what they were going to do with the Cushing movies was originally there was going to be posters of the movies up in the Black archive. And what they were going to do was the movies were made based off somebody leaking those stories to the folks who did the movies. So in a way, they were going to be part of the Whoniverse, but then rights issues emerged, and that scene was never used. I'm not sure if it got. I could have swore they said it got shot, but it was never used. But double check on that. But yeah, they were going to have posters for the Daleks and Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD, and then someone was going to make an offhand reference to security being a lax, and somehow those stories got out. But okay, folks, I'm approaching the 20-minute mark here. Normally, I'd cut off at the 15, but I gave a little extra time today because pretty much I'm going to eat my oats. Probably going to play some Fallout 76 and stare at the wall. Kind of funny. Until I probably nod off for a nap. So take care, everybody. Enjoy your day. And we will see you all in the parking lot tomorrow. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now. If I can find the button on here. Hang on. Oh, there it is.